she disappeared into the mountains. And now the echo is that when someone is speaking, so she is speaking back. It floated to the reeds of the river, and they carried its message to the sea. Look, look, cried the tree. The rose is finished now, but the nightingale made no answer, for she was lying dead in the long grass, with the thorn in her heart. And at noon, the student opened his window and looked out. Why, what a wonderful piece of luck, he cried. Here is a red rose. I have never seen any rose like it in all my life. It is so beautiful that I'm sure it has a long Latin name. And he leaned down and plucked it. Most of the times we come across long names, so it is a kind of prestige that people are having, long Latin names specifically. Latin language has been sacred to English people for quite a long, British people for quite a long time. Then he put his head and ran up to the professor's house with the rose in his hand. The daughter of the professor was sitting in the doorway, winding blue silk on a reel, and her little dog was laying at her feet. You said you would dance with me if I brought you a red rose, cried the student. Here is the reddest rose in all the world. You will wear it to you will wear it tonight next to your heart, and as we dance together, it will tell you how I love you. But the girl frowned. The girl frowned. I'm afraid it will not go with my dress. She is worried about matching, she answered. And besides, the Chamberlain's nephew has sent me some real jewels. And everybody knows that jewels cost far more than flowers. Well, upon my word, you are very ungrateful, said the student angrily. And he threw the rose into the street, where it fell into the gutter, and a cart wheel went over it. This is the place where I told you that creative art, whether it is in the form of painting or in the form of poetry or music or fiction, someday they are thrown away. Stages in life come that people throw them away. And the Baconian people, because Bacon says stage, that love is more for stage than real life. And probably this is one reason that he has referred to him indirectly and dialogue with him. Ungrateful, said the girl. I tell you what, you are very rude. And after all, who are you? This is, who are you is a wonderful statement. I really like it when some, and when the adjective hell is added to you, who the hell are you? Was just wonderful expression. Like it really well. Many times I have heard it and I really enjoyed it. Only a student, why do I don't believe you have even got silver buckles to your shoes as the Chamberlain's nephew has. You don't have that much little wealth. And she got up from her chair and went into the house. What a silly thing is love, said the student as he walked away. It's not half as useful as logic. Not as useful, half as useful as logic. For it does not prove anything, and because logic proves something and love doesn't prove anything. And it is always telling one of the things that are not going to happen. I think Sir Syed Ahmad Khan has written in his essay something like that. That literature or dreams or things like that, that they deceive people. I talked about it, I think, and it is always telling of things that are not going to happen and making one believe things that are not true. In fact, it is quite unpractical. And as in this age, to be practical is everything, I shall go back to philosophy and study metaphysics. So he returned to his room and pulled out a great dusty book and began to read. Although the story is like this, that as you have come to know of, but is about literature. It is said that there is no inherent meaning. Even it is said about language in general. But when it comes to literature, literary pieces, then it's very specific that that don't have literary pieces don't possess any fixed meaning or inherent meaning, and it's up to the readers what meaning they get out of it. So from this perspective, we see a number of things in this story. Like the sacrifice of the nightingale is very important thing, and this can be generalized into this thing that hard work, devotion, sincerity, selflessness, when these things are there, so even one loses oneself, but the production at the cost of oneself is greater than that thing. Many times it happens, and many examples can be there. But then there is this what we call this debate, or this conflict, the conflict between a materialistic approach to life and that cannot call it spiritualistic, but I'll term it as the emotional or the feeling-centered approach to life. So this has been discussed, and the feeling-centered approach is there. It will be there with whenever romantics and rationalists are there. So they'll exist. Romantics and rationalists will exist, and they'll go on with that. The lizard in specific belongs to that kind because he is cynic, and he considers the Machiavellian and Baconian utilitarianism or egalitarianism. These are the words that are used, pragmatism, that people are pragmatic about it. But the basic thing, as I talked of repeatedly, is that art for art's sake movement, that art must not be considered as a mean for some other end. That is, whether the end is political or moral or anything else. But the end of poetry and the end of literature is the end of art is art itself. And that is that it gives aesthetic pleasures and nothing else. Is when I refer to Dorian Gray, I told you about this thing. So I think there is nothing very much disturbing in this short story. It's really plain, and you can think of different themes in it, like struggle, hard work, clash between reason and emotion, and the sacrifice of the ignoring the sacrifice of people, failing to empathize with others, and to be chauvinistic and pragmatic excessively. And from symbols point of view, you can regard certain symbols in that. So this is all about it. And if we talk about the plot of this short story, so it has got a very well structured and organized plot, and it's a very precise short story which can be elaborated into volumes of interpretation. It's loaded short story, and the events are also interlinked. Like there are just a few events in it, but every event is logically connected with any other event. And the conclusion towards the end that has been drawn is, in the beginning there is an if in the beginning, because if he has red rose, and towards the end that if is negative, that even if you have the red rose, you may not have the chance to dance. So the if, they are always presumptions and possibilities. They are not facts. Many times the ifs and the whens, they don't work. Something else work then. So you listen to it, and I'll be connected with you for another session.